talking about starting low and aiming high. So I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, please hit the share, like, and there's a donate button somewhere down below in the description if you guys are so inclined to give me a donation. But I'll be talking about starting low and aiming high. Okay. Hold on, give me a sec. Okay, perfect. All right, so as always, I always like to talk about a recap episode, which is my recap episode today is He Never Misses. Okay, and the slide is on fail but fail forward. What's up, Tracy? What's up? Okay, so why do you choose this, Mitchell? Well, I chose this recap because I feel like this whole social media, this whole thing, like I feel like we gotta be constantly be reminded of, look, not everything you see on social media is exactly what you see. You know what I mean? Like people show the progress or the successes, but they don't really. There's a very very small percent that shows their failures. That who posts those type of things unless they have like let's just say it's a big transformation, right? Maybe someone that lost a whole bunch of weight and now is really fit, and that's great, and I think that's very motivating. But to a lot of people that are not even near that stage in life, they feel like they're already defeated before they even started because they're like, wow, look at this person, they're very successful and I'm not, right? They don't show the struggle between that. Exactly, Tracy. What's up, Shevelin? And so I feel like the whole, and that's why I chose this, right? Because you have to start low, but you have to have an aim. You have to have a goal, right? And I talked about goals and value-based goals behind those goals, right? That way it has more meaning behind it as you're reaching up there and you're enjoying the process. So anyways, um He Never Misses. And episode, oh, not episode, the slide is fail but fail forward. Okay, and I want to start it with this quote, which is, only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. Felt like I just butchered that. Let me try that again. Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. So what does it mean? It means that you have to risk failure. You have to fail. Like, you're gonna fail. You're not gonna get it right every single time, right? But most of social media is always showing like, oh, this is where I'm at. Look, I just bought a new house. Where are you at in life? Like, how do you know that they're not dealing with a lot of shit? And you know how I know? The reason why I know is because a lot of people, let's just say, for example, on social media, they show about how happy they are. They're traveling all over the world. They're doing this, they're doing that. They bought a new car, they bought a new house, they got a new relationship. Oh, that person's very attractive. How come I'm single? You know what I mean? It makes you start questioning your own worth, and it makes you question your own value. But you have to understand that you are your own individual, but you just have to work towards the things that you got to consistently work on. You have a totally different path than someone else. You might have went to the same school. It doesn't mean you're the same person. It doesn't mean anything. So you got to start where you're at, okay? And be able to fail, but fail forward. And we learn more from mistakes than we do with successes. Like, success is not a great teacher. Failure is. But what usually happens is a lot of people, they use failure as, I'm being defeated. This is who I am. This is my identity. And that's the scariest thing. When you apply who you are or your failure to who you are, and it becomes your identity, that means that you're like, oh, I'm just a failure, right? This is who I am. And that's the difference between, let's just say, shame and guilt, right? Let's just say you did something bad, which is a behavior. You just did something bad. It doesn't mean that you are a bad person, right? Because you feel guilty. Look, I fucked up. I probably should have never did that. I regret it, blah, blah, blah. That's not who I am, right? Now, when you apply shame into that, shame is, this is who I am. And usually what is linked between shame and guilt is that shame has a direct correlation to, like, say, someone that has maybe depression, right? Eating disorders, like, because you're applying what you did to who you are. You see the difference? Okay. And I hope you guys pick that up. It's a recap, so I'm not gonna stay too long about it. All right, so we learn way more from mistakes than we do with successes. Failure is necessary and is a part of growth. It's usually the darkest time that gives us the greatest clarity. Darkest time gives us the greatest clarity. And you know what's the funny thing about those dark times? You feel like you can't get out of that place. You feel like you're very stuck. You feel like I am going to be here forever. But let's just say you're competent now, right? You've done multiple things and you just feel stuck because you feel like, you know what? Maybe I broke up with this person or this person broke up with me, and if it makes me feel like I'm less than. And then you feel like it starts to bleed into other areas of your life, right? Like, okay, they broke up with you, but you know you're still good at whatever thing you're good at. But then now all of a sudden you start doubting yourself because they left you. And then you start applying, oh, they left me because I'm not better than that person or whatever. You start comparing different things. And comparison being a theft of joy, you're never gonna be happy enough. You're never gonna be content, right? And which is why I'm here today and be like, yo, snap back to reality, right? Eminem. Snap back to reality and be like, look, be grateful for where you're at, but also pursue all that you want, right? And that puts you into a way better, more positive, more optimistic mindset where optimism offers more opportunities than someone that's kind of like way down below. It's like, you know, people that's like always say, oh, this happens to me. Yeah. And they find themselves always kind of like spiraling down versus these people, they look at obstacles as challenges, right? Like, what was that stuff? I can't think of it right now. I'm having this brain fart. I'll get back to that. But they don't look at challenges as I'm stuck. They see it as, wow, this is my opportunity to kind of prove to myself that I can do it. I can't do it right away, and it might take me more times than other people, but that's okay. I am where I need to be, and that's okay. Pursue all that you want. All right. So failure is necessary. In anything you do, you're going to encounter obstacles and challenges. The goal is to not let those failures run you, right? Like I was saying before, and have you kind of like emotionally distraught. You don't want to be in that place. You don't let that failure be your identity. Instead, view it as gifts and lessons from your experiences. Those are gifts. Like every time you fail, you just did something and you get to learn from what you just did. That's it. And then start applying it. Maybe you make the same mistake twice or 3 times. Okay, fine. Well, how can I not do this so that I don't get stuck in the same situation again? You know what I mean? And that way you start asking yourself quality questions. And the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you consistently ask yourself. So are you guys asking yourself quality questions? And if you don't know where to start, Google it. How can I ask myself more quality questions, right? And that's why this is super, super important. And that's why having a great support system, someone you could talk to, maybe it's your best friend, your confidant, someone you truly trust, someone that you trust with great news, someone that you trust with bad news, that they're going to be there and not like bring you down when you're trying to, you know, share something great. Like, oh, I just got a new promotion at my job and I got 20-30% more. That they're actually happy for you. You know what I mean? Instead of being like envious and jealous and be like, why do you get more than me? You know what I mean? Or someone, hey, you going through a breakup and they're like, see, I fucking told you so. Like, is that really, it's not really about you if they say that, right? People project what they feel on the outside to what they feel about themselves in the inside. Okay. So I want y'all to remember that. So that's why having a great support system, really, really important, right? Having something emotionally compelling that keeps you up late at night, and that's the first thing you think about in the morning, right? That is important to success because it comes easy and effortless. This is something that you want to do. You want to know more about it. So you're going to want to do it because you're emotionally compelled. Okay. So lead by example and fail even more after those people that says you can't do it, right? So you're gonna get a lot of people that says you can't do it. I told you so. You're not better than that person, but you know, everybody starts at different paces, you know? And also remember this, majority of people that you run across They major in minor things. They major in minor things. They focus on like things that is not important. Okay? But how do you focus on things that is important? Well, what so a good quality question to ask yourself is, what is important to me? What is important to me? What do I value? And only you know that. And if that is important to you, now are you doing things moving towards that direction that is going to lead you into a better, happier, healthier life? Are you doing those things? And if you're not, then maybe there's one thing that you need to do. Apply it to the list. One thing good about having a list is checking it off, right? Saying that you did it. It's great. Okay, so anyways, let's go down to the meat of the topic, which is, start where you are at, right? Start where you're at. Okay, starting low and aiming high, right? And I really like this quote. And you don't really have to be a religious person. I'm not really a religious person, but I really like this quote because Carl Jung, okay, let me just quote him. Carl Jung, he says, the reason modern people can't see God is that they won't look low enough. And I feel like when he said that, me being Mitchell, trying to decipher that, is people want to, they set themselves this bar, right, where they're not even at, or they won't look low enough because they're thinking, hey, you know what, I'm better than these people. Like, maybe you're not, maybe you think you are, but you're actually not, right? Have you ever met somebody that feels like that they know everything, but they haven't done a single thing in their life to even like, for example, all of a sudden they know everything about basketball, but they can't fucking shoot a hoop. They can't score for their life. You know what I mean? But they're all of a sudden they're expert at basketball. They're expert pro player. You know what? Everybody knows that person. Everybody has that one person in their life. All right. So it's because most people don't look low enough, right? So start where you're at. Maybe you suck, and that's okay. You suck. Everybody sucks. Okay. You start at a place and you get better. That's it. And I want to quote Jordan Peterson with this because majority of today's topic was inspired by Jordan Peterson. So I want to shout out to Jordan P. So here it is. So there's a bunch of things. So he says, there's a bunch of things in my life that are not in order nor put together. And they're making me suffer and feel less than I am. And I know what they are because they're staring right at, they're staring right at my face. They're staring right at my face. And there's some of those where I can there's some of those I can put in order today. So when I wake up tomorrow, the domain of my experience will be better put together than it is today. So basically, in other words, I know there's something that I need to do. I'm just putting it off way too many times, right? Some people call that procrastination. Some people call it being lazy, whatever you want to call it. Basically, you're not doing anything to move towards that direction that you want to be in life, wherever it may be. It could be health, it could be finance, it could be your relationships, whatever it is, okay? Whatever it is. And you keep putting it off. And you know what they are. You know what these are, okay? So I don't need to tell you, you already know it. And if you don't know it, spend some time thinking about it, okay? So take a step back. But if you know it, there's probably 4 to 5 things off the top of your head that you could like just knock out. Boom, boom, this, that. Whatever those are, put a priority level. You fix daily to make progress. Yes. And you know what they are. These are things, here's the truth too, right? This is what he said. And these are things that aren't very heroic. They're not very heroic. They're kind of trivial. And you've been avoiding it because you're not a hero, okay? These are things that you know that you should be doing every single day. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's getting sunlight. I don't know. Maybe it's talking to your family. Whatever it is, there's something that you're neglecting and you know it, right? And you've been avoiding it. So you focus on that. And then when you focus on that a little bit more and you put attention to it, then you'll be just a little bit more focused and a little bit more put together that day, okay? So whatever you're thinking now and you're like, let me plan it. Maybe today is a little late. Let me make sure that I plan for tomorrow, right? And from then on, the problem you run into will become slightly larger and a little bit more complex. Because why? After you solve that puzzle, after that thing, right, that you fix or solved, or whatever it is, you're going to have another bigger problem. And guess what? Life is full of that shit. But are you going to be that person that focuses on the problem? Or are you going to be like, where's the solution? How can I fix this so that I can move on, right? Life is this progress, right? And what this would do is it's going to train you to be this person that you're going to be a problem solver, or you're solution based. That's what you're going to be. And then as you become a little bit more confident in that, because you're able to solve things on your own now, and you're a little bit more competent, right? So and you will be, so from then on you'll be less likely, and this from Jordan B. Peterson, and from then on you'll be less likely to hit something complicated with a stick and say that you fixed it, because that's what a lot of people do. They kind of like do a half-ass job, right? That's basically, in other words, you're doing a half-ass job over something and pretending the problem still is not there, and it really is, right? And that's how I see things with relationships. I feel like people, they they tend to ignore, like, let's just say you had an argument, right? But then all of a sudden, a few hours later, you pretend nothing happened. You just pretend nothing happened. But in reality, if you think about it, that's something that that I heard from was Jordan B. Peterson. He talked about how this is what we call conflict delay. Basically, instead of confronting that person, maybe you don't have to confront them to a degree where I'm being so confrontational where it becomes this battle, but it's more like, hey, you know what, there's something that's not right, that's sitting, there's a little bit of tension, and I want to talk about it with you because I want to solve this problem. Maybe it was the way I came home and I started yelling instead of like really listening to your problems, whatever it is, right? And the more you delay this conflict, the more it bottles up, right? And that's when it bottles up more and more and more. And then all it takes, once you have it up to here, right? You hear the saying, I have it up to here, right? That means that I've been taking too much of your shit, and now all of a sudden life is pressuring me. And maybe it could be something so small. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's your manager giving you a hard time. And then all of a sudden you come to me with this little ass problem, and I have it up to here about your bullshit. And that's when life pressures you. And when life pressures you, guess what? You're going to explode, right? Especially if you're not a person that faces conflict. That pretending and avoiding irritates me. I'm a solver. Exactly, right? And that's how you have a better, happy, healthier relationship. But here's also another thing too, right? On the other side of the coin, a lot of people, that's how they operate. They need drama to live. They feel like there's no excitement in their life. Well, those are the type of people that I kind of don't want to be around. The reason why is because you probably don't have anything really going on with your life, and that's why you're really so fixated on that drama. And maybe it's because of your past. Maybe it's because you were always around problem, but you decided that one day, because you don't make a choice, it's still a choice. Even if you don't make a choice to become better, it's still a choice. Your choice is, I don't want to improve myself. And maybe you're unaware, but that's okay, because that's how you want to live life. But to me, that's not okay. I don't want to live like that. I want to live a life where it's kind of drama free. I want to be with that person that's easygoing, easy to get along with, very loving, very caring. I want to share my love to that person. I want that person to share the same thing from me. And that's how I want my life. But not a lot of people want that. And guess what? This isn't a hot topic, because you wouldn't watch a show that has zero drama. You'd be like, everyone's happy all the time. Everything's coming in, everything's well. Like, you wouldn't watch that, right? So that's why we're so in tune with drama, because of that's what we're attracted to, right? But be careful what you watch on TV and what you're putting yourself into, and that's all you do with drama. Like, listen to that. Are you a type of person that draws into other people's drama? Because that says a lot about you too, right? It shows that you're really not focused on the things you need to do or you should be doing, and you're putting it into a back burner. So listen to that. All right. Let's see. So You'd be less likely to hit something complicated with a stick and say that you fixed it, right? And on top of that, you'll have a clear image of what is fixed and what is not fixed, because you're educating yourself, but needs to be addressed more. Exactly. And so here's the thing, right? Like, in this society, we always, like, people don't come to me when everything's good. People come to me when, like, hey, shit, yo, my girl will stop talking to me, my girl stop doing this and stop doing that, yada yada yada, right? And I was like, where were you when I told you that maybe you should be listening to some of the shit, right? Not only that, it would have saved you a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time, right? But we live in this type of world where, there's not so much preventative, right? Like, why else do you think I go to the gym every single day? Because I like lifting weights? Maybe sometimes, not always. There's some benefits to it, but if I could get those results without lifting a finger, absolutely, that'd be great. It saves me a lot more time. I could spend my time doing something else. But it's like, well, we got to do things in preparation, because you never promise tomorrow too, right? So I do things to prevent myself in the future. Like, my goal to go to the gym, I'm not trying to be Mr. Olympia. I'm not trying to lift the heaviest weight. I don't want to be the best person there. That's not what I want. What I want to do is, I just want to be happy and healthy, so that, let's just say I have grandkids or great grandkids, whatever, right? So that I could be able to play with them and be 80, 90 years old and still be fucking so mobile that is like, damn, how do you do that? Like, well, I've been doing it since I was like in my 20s, and now I'm in my 80s, 90s, and I can still move. You just decided that you didn't want to do that. That's your choice. And like I said, if you don't choose it, it's still a choice, right? Just like if you don't plan for your future, or you plan for the things that you want to do, well, guess what? If you don't make your own plan, someone else will plan for you. And guess what? They don't have something very exciting or interesting for you. You know what I mean? Instant gratification is very costly, right? So, number two, social virtue, right? Jordan B. Peterson also said this, which is, it's an abdication of responsibility with the mask of social virtues. Basically, he was talking about people that hold picket signs, and it's like, it sounds very virtuous, but in reality, and this is where I'm still trying to understand him a little bit more. But the thing that I'm grasping from that quote is that, you ever notice we always like to put up this front, and I'm a victim of this too, right? You can say I'm a victim of this, or who doesn't want to share their successes? You know what I mean? Who doesn't want to share their successes? Who doesn't want to show that, hey, I got this, I got that, like, hey, look at me, I got lucky. Maybe you didn't, or whatever, right? Like, everybody wants to show their successes when it comes to social media. And especially if you're doing something nice, right? It's a social virtue, right? Like, okay, it's this time of year again. You ever notice Thanksgiving? It's always somebody filming a video about them maybe buying dinner or passing out lunch boxes on Thanksgiving. You know what I'm talking about, right? They're just out there, they're just passing out food, or maybe, and they're doing something for people in need. And it's like, well, okay, where were you all year long? And I get it. I'm not saying that, hey, what you're doing now is not great. Okay, I think that's absolutely great. But are you still consistently doing that? Or are you just doing this once a year because it's Thanksgiving? Or maybe it's Christmas and it's cold and people don't have something warm, so you bought blankets. You know what I mean? It's like, are you doing things that what is your character like? Are you consistently doing that? Or are you just doing this for, like I said, social virtues? You know what I mean? And basically, a lot of people, they want to feel like they're more special than they really are. And in reality, if you think about it, we're not that special, okay? Like me, like everybody, we're just like ants. We're just like ants. There's 7.7 billion, if not more now. Okay, no one's really that special, but it's the value that you place on that person. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm that fucking special. There's like, anyone could do this. Anyone could pick a slide, write some stuff down, and then talk about it. That's it, right? The only difference is, are you courageous enough to want to do something like that, right? So Anyways, that's about Jordan Peterson. And but that's how I am, right? That's what most people do too. And like I said, I fall victim of that. And who doesn't show the successes, right? Same thing for me. Like I'm excited when I get a dance move down and I felt like I really got it down a little bit better. And I want to share it to you guys, right? Who doesn't want to show the successes? But you know, there's certain things that I don't talk about every single day. I don't post my entire story up all the time, right? But you know, there's certain things that I don't share, and I could share with y'all because you're here. But there's certain things that's not very kind of virtuous or whatever, and it's not very interesting, but it keeps me afloat. It keeps me on my feet, and it keeps me thinking well. And some of the things are like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, right? I think to myself like, okay, how are you today, Mitchell? Like, as stupid as it sounds, how are you? I don't know. Not really sure yet. I just woke up, right? Let me get out first. Let me get out of bed. Let me brush my teeth. And let me see how my body's feeling. Okay, because, like I said, very trivial. It's not very heroic, right? And it's boring. How are you feeling? But I think that's so important because if you don't know how to gauge that, and let's just say I woke up very groggy, but I keep telling myself, oh, you're going to be great. You're going to be great. Instead of being like, okay, well, why do you feel groggy right now? Is it because you didn't have enough sleep? Maybe you need some caffeine, something to fix that, right? To kind of aid that in the meantime so that I could get back into who I could be. You know what I mean? My potential. And so that's, like I said, these are boring things. And I ask myself, and I'm completely honest to myself. And when I could do that, then I could be me when I'm out there. So that I'm not going out there being someone that I'm really not. You know what I mean? So then it adds to my character, right? Your character is who you are with thousands and thousands of choices that you make that one day. So are you doing things that is more honest to you, or are you constantly going out being that person that you're not? And that's a real truth. A lot of people go out there and put up this fucking front, and you're really not there. But they tend to feel like they are more important. It's like, no, you're not. And that's okay, right? But it doesn't mean like, oh, you don't know your worth. But it's like, you know what? Be humble a little bit. Because if you're not humble, you will be humbled. Wait, did I miss something? Grandpa Mitchell. So, social virtues. Okay. So if you want to make a difference in the world, start with what is trivial. These are things that you don't really put a lot of importance of, right? Like planning your day, exercise, eating healthy, mindset, your communication. Your communication. And I feel like communication is one of those things that is, it doesn't place a lot of value, but it has a lot in return. Like if you sit down and listen to one person, you learn a whole lot from them. And that conversation becoming interesting to you, it makes the other person feel like, damn, this person cares, right? Like this person is a human, you know what I mean? And that's how you build connections. And I feel like that's lost nowadays because everybody has this ear to listen so that they can respond. Not so much can I hear you out without being judged. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's lost nowadays. I feel like a lost art, you know, with all the information being out there too. So humans tend to project more importance than what they really are. Okay? And that's what a lot of people do, right? The relationship you have with other people around you and your job. Made it. What's up, Zach? So, yeah, if you're at this place and you feel kind of like down a little bit and you want to feel a little bit more alive or whatever, right? I get it. Who doesn't want to feel a little bit more important? Who doesn't? But you have to understand that maybe are you craving that? Is this something that you need to thrive off of? Because are you addicted to that? That's another question. Like, is this a self validation, right? Because who doesn't have days when they wake up and be like, damn, I feel like nobody really cares about me. But deep down, there's a lot of people that does care. They just busy. They're probably busy doing their own things. It doesn't mean that you're less important because they're not reaching out. But it does happen, right? I think everybody experiences that. So, anyways, do the things every day that consistently builds up your character. And building up your character, the the quickest way to build up your character is to be yourself. And I mean that because most people cannot be themselves because they fear of being judged. Okay, let's see. Made it. Boyfriend gives me validation, and now I feel so much better, right? So, and that's great in the meantime, but excitement's high, everything's high, right? But what happens when he doesn't? What happens when the excitement level goes down? And I'm not saying this to bring you down, but it's important to understand that in the beginning of the relationship or that dating courting phase, that everything should be high. You know what I mean? Hands will be thrown. Tracy, because mine is highlighted. All right, I'm just gonna move on with this. So do things that builds up your character every day, right? So what is it? What is important to you? Right now, I don't even think about going to the gym because I feel like the moment I wake up, my health is really important. I don't want to be the richest man in a grave, okay? Nor do I want to be the poorest man. But I don't want to be that person in a grave. At least not now. You know what I mean? Eventually, everybody, that's our destination, right? 100% of us are not going to be here. Not to sound very cynical, but it's the truth. But it's like, well, how can I make the best out of it with my time being here? You know what I mean? And my goal that fulfills me is, you know, being able to share things that I can for other people that maybe feel like they need to hear certain things to kind of bring themselves up. Because guess what? I'm just as human as you. So I feel like shit sometimes too. And sometimes if I'm by myself and I listen to my own thoughts, sometimes it's like, okay, like it's you're doubting yourself because sometimes maybe it's because you didn't have enough sleep. And when you don't have enough sleep, you don't feel very good. And when you don't feel very good, it feels like everything is against you. You know what I mean? And that happens, but that means I have some things that I need to correct for myself. Honestly, something personally, I can validate myself by realizing I'm in a way better position than where I was a year ago. That's great. That's awesome, man. Oh, okay. I have to show you what the hell I'm talking about one day. All right. So Jordan Peterson says, have a discussion with your own conscience, right? If you start doing the things you know you should be doing today, and you did that diligently, and you did it for the next 10 to 20 years, you'll be a lot more than you are. And when you're a lot more than you are, you're going to be less angry, less frustrated, less miserable, and less self-absorbed, right? All these quote unquote negative traits. And you find yourself much less resentful. You're not going to be very resentful. So what does that mean? It means that you'll find yourself a lot nicer, right? To yourself and to other people. And when you're nicer to yourself and other people, because you could afford that, you can't give what you don't have. And because you could give that to people, and you're more patient, right? Because what usually comes with anger, impatience, right? But if you're a lot happier, you're a lot nicer to people, you're there to listen to them, because you never know what the other person's dealing with, and you're willing to listen to the other person because you could offer that, because you're in a much better position, because you took care of yourself, and you're helping somebody, right? They're gonna feel like, damn, this person's I like this person. You're gonna be less resentful. You're gonna start seeing things as gifts instead of things happening to you. You're gonna be like, you know what? I failed today, but it's okay, because you know what? It's a lesson. Instead of, damn, I failed, I'm a failure. Life is so short. Live it making use of what you have to be the best of your ability to be happy and help. Yeah. And so, you know, happiness is a choice. It doesn't happen by chance. It's the same thing as if you don't have a goal and you go everywhere, you're never gonna really land on somewhere. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so important to focus on the things that you want to do, which is really listening to yourself. And I feel like we all know this. We just tend to ignore it, which is finding your truth, which is my third topic on this. Finding your truth, right? Another quote by Jordan B, which is, you need a meaning in your life that enables you to bear the suffering of your life without being corrupted. So when I heard this quote, I was like, oh wow, this is interesting, because it's like Jordan Peterson talks about how life is about suffering. Life is suffering. Life is painful. Life is not easy. But you want to find something in your life that allows you or enables you to bear the suffering, so that you don't become this corrupted person, so that you don't just fly off the hinges and be like, go rogue and like do things that you will regret. You know what I mean? And to me, yes, that is a little bit more on the darker side, and I get it. Still trying to understand where he's really trying to come from, but it gives me a perspective, because you can't always just see one thing as like, oh, happy, jolly, rainbows and all that, right? And so you want to be able to understand it from a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit more on the darker side, but I get it, and I get that life is suffering, because at the end of the day, and this is my understanding, that at the end, like I said before, everybody has one destination, right? It's how you want to live it. So that you don't become this corrupted person. And like I said, that is all built on your character, right? That is who you are. So you must build yourself into something that you can actually respect. You want to build something for yourself that you actually respect. And that's by saying knowing your worth, right? Or maybe I'm not there now, but if I put my mind to it, I can do it, right? Can you live through life without going for the, and yeah, can you live through life not doing any of these things? You could lay in bed, eat Cheetos all day, watch Netflix, do a job that you kind of like, and then come back home and repeat. And you could do that for the rest of your life. And you could do that. But you're going to find yourself kind of like bored, right? You're going to find yourself like, yeah, I'm not really growing. And one of the 6 basic human needs is growth and love and connection, right? So if you think about this, most people don't want to date down, okay? And they don't mind that, and there's the reality of it, right? If they see that you're progressively doing something for yourself, and they see that you're working towards that direction, they're like, yeah, this, and you're a good person, and you're a nice person, but you're also not what you call that? You're not a doormat, right? You're not just gonna take shit from people. You're not gonna be this yes man, and so they start seeing you as like, okay, this person's working towards to trying to become a better person. And if you're going for that, then you're setting yourself for a better future versus someone that kind of that lacks direction, that lacks ambition, right? And that's why having ambition, being confident, like all this, it builds up to your character. Can you approach somebody? Can you approach somebody? And most people say, we're fearful of being rejected. And so, yeah, there's certain people that want to live like that. And what I'd say to those type of people is that's who they are and that's what they want to be. But be careful being around people that want to aim down, because there are those people, and you got to respect where they want to be at, right? And, the old saying goes, you can only lead the horse to water. You can't make him drink it. Same thing applies. Like, I have to learn, even the people that I want to help the most, if they're stuck in their own ways. Like, I remember talking to some people, and they're just kind of like questioning. Yeah, I get it, but see, the thing is, and I was like, okay, then I really just asked them this question. I was like, if you did everything that worked, why would you be here in front of me talking to me about this? Because that person was that special? Like, no, like there's certain behaviors, you know what I mean? And I had to limit myself being around them, right? And look, Zach, isn't it so much more uplifting, especially if this is your personality trait? Like, you're a person that's a little bit more courageous. You want to do things. You want to move forward in life, right? and they just like always super negative, how does that make you feel? Does it feel like it draws energy from you? From, it's just like, yeah, you know what? Being around you for more than 10 minutes is too damn much. But versus you could be around someone that you love, that brings you up, that lifts you up as a person, both mentally, physically, right? Spiritually, whatever, right? You could be around that person for 10 hours and you'd be like, holy shit, I fucking love you, man. Fucking love you. Yep. And that happens in jobs too, right? Where you get like these A players and they're surrounded by C players that kind of like, I'm just here, it's a job, right? Like, yeah, dragging dead weight. Yeah, exactly. And what usually happens in those situations is you get these A players, they're not gonna stay there. They're not gonna stay there. They're gonna actually push those A players away. I need to learn more about that, but from the information that I know, that small amount of information that I know, it pushes those A players away, right? And it gets very difficult because you can't have one person dragging, like you said, all that weight, right? It takes a team. So yeah, you want to be able to do something. Always got promoted. Yeah, you always trying to lead those D players. D students always got promoted. You did, right? It's because, and it shows your character too. It's like, hey, look. So here's the thing. Back then when I went into a job, I always thought about how much money I can get. And I get that money is important, but it's like, yeah, but you know what? If you only focus on the money, there's that cap. But if you focus on the potential of who you want to be or where you see yourself to be, you're like, the sky's literally the limit. Like, there's no limit to where you're at. And so, like I said, like I was a personal trainer a few years ago, right? And I knew about training. And could I have learned more? Yeah, I feel like I only know this much about personal training and there's like this much, right? But now I get to go in and I'm super excited about it. Like, I get to go in with the idea of, hey, this is where you want to be. Okay. Cause I have people that came to me and was like, my doctor says if I don't do this, I might die. Right. Like, I'm like, oh shit. Like, yeah, I can't eat certain things. My cholesterol is high. Right. And they said having a personal trainer or going to the gym is going to help me with that. And I was like, great. But I always start out with the question is, do you want to do it? They was like, I have to. I was like, no, do you want to? And do you feel like you get to do it? Or you feel like this is a drag, right? Because most people want to give up after a while. So I really question what their motive of why they need to be here. It's like, I'm questioning them. Like, is your life really that more meaningful because you have to eat a little bit better now? Because if they are, and they feel like their life is important, which is why they're there, then they're going to put more effort into it. You know what I mean? I did, yes. I'm those type that always works for excellence. That's great. And that's why your relationship is great too, right, Tracy? So anyways, let's see. Okay, so can you live? Yeah, you can live through life doing absolutely nothing, right? But let's just say you start some today, or you plan it for tomorrow, right? Because today, like I said, it's nighttime. It's not enough time today, and I get it. Okay, it's getting closer, but plan it for tomorrow. So you have more room to play with, right? And that's not called procrastinating, but it's just like, hey, maybe you're tired, and that's okay sometimes. And you continue doing that for the next few years and consistently, how much better can you be, right? So asking questions. Remember in class when we were younger, and we get our teachers that tells us there's no such thing as a dumb question. Let's see. My motto: if you're gonna do it, give it your all. If not, why bother? D students. You know those D students. My work ethic is more like, if you don't want to work hard, there's someone else who will work hard. Yeah. But yeah, so going back, like, you get those. Look, man, you're a teacher. Don't you say to your students sometimes, like, there's no such thing as a dumb question? And if you think about it, when I was in kindergarten, or when I was like I was short as hell. Okay, I didn't know anything. Everything was all about fun, right? Preschool, kindergarten. Like, I remember this. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, let me share a little story. I remember that I didn't really like preschool because they always told me to sleep, and I was like, "Fuck, I don't want to sleep. I want to have fun." They was like, "No, you have to sleep." I was like, "You trying to put this child into this little sleeping bag after feeding me some fucking juice? Okay, you don't feed me juice, have me play recess, and then go tell me to go to sleep. Absolutely not." Anyways, so I always question them, like, why do I always have to sleep? I could sleep at home. They was like, you have to. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. But I remember this one distinct day. We were painting. And then we got hungry. So I don't know. This was literally one of the best moments in life as a preschooler. Okay. Celery and peanut butter. I don't know why. Okay. Celery and peanut butter. Will I eat it now? No. Maybe. I don't know. But celery and peanut butter was one of my highlights of being a preschool kid, because that's what I really enjoyed when I was there. I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that peanut butter could taste this damn good with celery. Okay, I didn't eat vegetables. Anyways, so basically that story meant nothing. Okay, but what I'm saying is I like to ask a lot of questions. I was like, damn, this is fucking good, like, right? And so I started asking a lot of questions. Now, after that, I was surrounded, okay? I was surrounded by certain people that told me that things like, that's a dumbass question, Mitchell. Or what kind of dumbass are you? Or what kind of fucktard is this? And it's like, and it really questioned what I was asking. And I was like, damn. And then guess what? I stopped asking as many questions because I didn't want to feel like I was dumb. I didn't want to feel like, and note that these people are a lot older than me. And so I'm like, damn, like, okay, I'm really dumb. I'm stupid then. I don't know anything, right? They know more than me, so I got to go to them, right? But it wasn't until, yeah, it was bad. Yeah, trust me. Like, I had this shitty type of, but I don't blame those people. I blame myself for not being more aware in the beginning. But I was a kid. I didn't know. And I didn't know about this. So it's okay, right? You usually don't. But it wasn't you, Zach. It wasn't you. But, you know, so when things like that happen to you as a child, or when you were younger and they start saying things like that, it makes you really question what you want to do. And so guess what? You're going to take that to school, right? But luckily for me, I was still very spontaneous. And so whenever I'm feeling great about myself, I literally still ask the most dumbest questions, right? Right? Like, why is there that E on Pokemon? Like, why? Right? Like, that's me, okay? Oh, you pronounce it differently, but okay, so, but to other people, it's like, why would you question that? It's just the way it is. No, I need to know why. Why orange? Why don't we call apples red? Oh, because it's different color apples. So why are oranges the color orange? You know what I mean? Like, dumb shit. Now, I get to ask that shit to Google. Because, and here's the thing too, right? Chances are, if you're, and this is what I love, and I wish I listened to my teachers more when I was younger, which was, they were like, chances are, if you're going to ask that question, everybody else is probably thinking about that same question too. You know what I mean? But now you fast forward to high school, right? Middle school, now you're in high school. Now most people don't want to ask a dumb question because they're fearful of what they're going to be judged. Okay, let's see. I love online classes because questions can be asked privately. Oh, really? I didn't know that. As a kid, I love to make fires and eat sand. Side note, brown exists, like the color brown? I don't know that. I didn't know that. You and this is great. I didn't brown what is brown? Like the school, the university? But doesn't that, like, it really pulls you back and really think about, like, damn, stop asking questions, you know what I mean? And so guess what? I became even more curious about a lot of things, right? And And that's why I love Snapple fun facts. You know, when you get the Snapple cap and you read it, do you know why flamingos are pink? Because they eat hella fucking shrimp, and the color of the shrimp they turn them pink. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay, and that's what I like. I enjoy those little fun facts. Can I go on Jeopardy and win? Probably not. But I like little fun facts here and there. Um, so anyways, you know, that that set me in my mind back as a kid, right? But now it propelled me to want to learn it a little bit more. So I started from that level, and I really became that student again. And I was like, let me just ask a whole bunch of questions. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, there's a lot of questions in my mind, right? And some things that I'm not even aware of. But the more I know, the more questions I can ask, right? You found that out today. So but in reality, now this is the truth, right? Now, if you ask this dumb or stupid question once, you're only dumb or stupid that moment, unless that person can't answer it. Okay, then you gotta ask again, right? Just the nature of it. But if you ask that dumb or stupid question once, then you're no longer stupid once you got the answer. Maybe you forgot it, but you're like, hey, I know that there's an answer for this. I just forgot, right? So then you could be like, well, I am no longer dumb for that question. You're only dumb for that moment, and that's okay. And you know what? It goes back to the one thing that I was talking about, which is you always project what you feel on the outside to what you really feel about yourself on the inside. And that's what most people operate. And so when that person said, you know, what are you, blah, 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 that's a dumbass fucking question, Mitchell. You're fucking stupid for asking you, yada, 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 right? That's how they feel about themselves in the inside. So in reality, I'm like, God damn, like that. I feel kind of bad for them. It's because I'm willing to ask questions, and just because you know it and I don't, now I'm a dumbass. So what does it make you when you have questions? All right. All right. We don't know everything, and that's okay. Why am I getting mad? Why? Yeah, my eye color is brown. Ask some questions to see how that person handles the situation I created. Look it up. I believe it. 2. The color brown is crazy. I don't know this. I don't know. You're confusing me now. But and so here's the thing, right? We take this thing, we don't ask questions, then we become less of ourselves. Because really deep down, you want to ask a dumb question. Why do I have to lift weights like this? Why? Oh, it's because you want to prepare yourself so that you don't hurt your back. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know. Now I know, right? But some people always pretend like they know everything. I think I was given an example where I was in school. It was high school, and I'll be, hey yo, so Karina, I was like, hey yo, your backpack's open. They look at me like I did something wrong, like I was the one that unzipped their backpack. Even though that was fun in the meantime, I stopped doing that, right? But, hey yo, Bob, okay, yo Bob, your backpack's open. I don't know why they did that. They got this. Yeah, I know. They do that, and I'm like, if you knew, why didn't you do that in the beginning? And why were you so feisty? Yeah. And so the next time that their backpack was open, I just watched. And so I started putting random shit in there, like staples. Like I break up the staples and just put it in. I was an asshole, okay? I didn't know any better. I was in high school. And they'd be like, what the fuck? Why'd I have so many staples in my backpack? I'm like, I thought you knew. Oh, you didn't know? Oh, I didn't know. I was an asshole. All right, that was on me though. You won't get any staples in your backpack if you're around me now, okay? Mitchell is a different person. So yeah, anyways, going back to the question. If you ask a dumb question once or a stupid question, you're no longer stupid no more, right? And so, so anyways, it goes back to starting low and aiming high. Where's something in your life right now that you think is it might be something that's holding you back? Maybe you think it's a dumb question or whatever, right? Maybe you want to learn how to cook. You don't know how to eat. You don't even know how to boil water, like how to boil water properly. That sounds like a dumb question, right? Well, guess what? No, it's not. Okay, because there's fire. There's those induction stoves. There's different ways. Next thing you know, you're a professional at boiling water. You find out that water boils at a certain temperature in Fahrenheit and Celsius. You got all the units down, and you're like, yo, I know how to make the best instant noodles because you need this temperature. Shit like that. One thing leads to another. You know what I mean? So whatever it is, okay. There's always something in your life you don't want. What I did back in high school. Tracy, I don't want to know. People just get annoyed. Yeah. My job is holding me back. It's more convenient. It's more convenient than a job, really. Really, your job right now, currently. So there's something that you want to do a little bit more, right? I'm glad that I'm bringing up some questions in your mind, like, hey, you know what? Am I really excited about the job, or am I just here because it's convenient, or it pays me well, or it does something, it puts food on my table, but I don't really get to do the shit that I really want to do. You know what I mean? So look, I'm all over the place right now. Let Mitchell hop back on track. Okay, let me just move on to my last slide. Okay, which is fear. Oh, okay. Fear of rejection becomes the fear of change. And that's usually what it is, okay? And I want to start out by talking about why attitude is everything. What your attitude about doing things that you want to do, right? Because your attitude is who you are. That's your character, right? That's kind of like your identity. And sometimes, every now and then, little things gets in the way, and it starts to tell you that maybe you're not that worthy. Maybe you're not good enough. And all of a sudden, you have a little bit of caffeine, you feel like you're on top of the world. Or all of a sudden, you have a little bit of liquid courage, and then you feel like you can talk to anybody, right? But why can't you do that without it? Okay? And how can you do that without those crutches? But that's why that's your attitude. Your attitude is everything. How is your attitude in life? It's how you feel about yourself. That's the most important thing, right? The internalization of what you feel, of how you really feel about yourself, and what is your worth. So the greatest fear right now for most people is the fear of rejection, right? So like I said, primary fears for most people is usually two things: is fear that we're not going to be loved, right? Being rejected, right? We're not going to be loved. And the fear that we're inadequate, we're not good enough. I see you, Zach, but I'm gonna finish this first. So the fear of when we're gonna be judged, right? And usually it starts from being like a childhood to being an adult, to adulthood. And that's why I highly, highly encourage you guys. Like, who doesn't? Okay, maybe you hated being a kid, but being a kid means that maybe you didn't have as much responsibilities, right? But what I mean being a kid again is be that curiosity, like be that person that you were once, where you were so curious about things. And that's why when I see my nieces sometimes, and I get it. Like, some of the questions that she asks is like, why? And I'm like, I really have to step back and be like, let me put myself in her shoes, right? My nieces. So she's asking me like weird questions, right? Like, how come shrimp turn pink after he's cooked? And I'm like, I don't know. It was gray looking. I don't know. That's a good question. Why do crabs turn that color? I don't know, right? I don't really know. And sometimes I get a little annoyed, and sometimes I'm just using those as example, but like sometimes it's like, or it could be like as simple as, why is 2 + 2 4? And it's like, it's because it is. And I can't answer certain things. You know what I mean? And in reality, sometimes when I can't answer those questions, I'm really questioning myself. And because I can't really answer it, or maybe it's like, are we there yet, right? Them sitting in the back seat. No, we're not there yet, because they're not driving. They don't know where to go. They just think I'm going to Disneyland. You know what I mean? Google is your best friend, right? But as a kid, she doesn't know what Google is, so she's gonna ask a whole bunch of questions. And of course, as a kid, you want to make sure that their curiosity is high because that means that they can learn quick. And I noticed that the less I question their questions and allow it to come more freely, that they're more curious about a lot of things. The more curious they are, the more they learn. And which is why I'm very happy and I'm very proud of her too. She could read at even when she was like 3 or 4. And I was like, wow, like, and maybe it's because she picked it up. I don't know. But for whatever it is, I I try to at least have more patience with my nieces, right? And don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you're just talking too that much. It's like, where's the off button? Um, but I try my best to really sit back and be like, all right, she wants to learn. She's curious about things. And the last thing you want to do is to discourage something that is good, which is having curiosity, because that's how you're going to be able to feel like you can solve problems, right? By asking questions. And the last thing you want to do is discourage somebody by, especially if they're doing something good, right? Say for example, like, the quickest way to get someone to not ever do anything nice for you is to discourage them when they are doing something nice for you, right? So, hey, I got you some food or whatever, and it's like they made you meatloaf and you wanted fried chicken, right? I didn't want to fucking eat this shit. And it's like, look, they're giving you something. They made it. Maybe it's not what you want, but you don't want to come across as this ungrateful person. You know what I mean? Like, well, thank you for making me meatloaf. I was wondering if I was thinking about getting some KFC, whatever, right? But I love the fact that you make meatloaf. You know how much I like it, and I feel like I gotta sneeze. Oh, this weather. All right, hold on. Let me take a break. Let me read. All right. It's the cells of the crab expanding, bursting, releasing hemoglobins. Okay, now I know something interesting. Hemoglobins. Uh, microbiology. Get her into microbiology. It explains a lot. Because biology is a study of things you can see with your eyes, and chemistry is the study of things you can see with a microscope, like cells. Oh, okay. I like how I like to know where I stand with people. Like when I enter a room of people, I am the type to sit back and read the room before interacting beyond simple greetings. Okay, so you're like that. Okay, you like to kind of read the room a little bit, see where you're at, right? Um, you know what was interesting that I never really thought of, and I just got this when I was talking to my brother. Um, I know this nothing to do with starting low and aiming high, but it was interesting because the way he thought of things kind of like made me question the way I thought things, which is different. So when you go to a party, most people read the room and everything, and I think that's great too, right? I'm more of like, I just start saying hi to people, and we're different, right? But my brother goes in differently too. He goes in and be like, he goes into his room and he looks for exits. I was like, why? He was like, yeah, because I need to know if shit hits the fan. I need to, my safety is number one, so I need to know where to go. And I was like, yeah, so like when I go to bars, go to clubs, I always, number one, where's the bathroom? Number two, where are the exits? If there's an emergency, if someone comes in or whatever, acts all crazy and shit, I know where to fucking leave. I know I'm not gonna go where they entered. I was like, okay. And I contribute that to him being in the army or in the military. You know what I mean? So I was like, he was like, no, that's how I always thought of things. And I was like, you for sure you think differently. Most people go into a party and be like, where's the beer or where's the booze or whatever. He's like, yo, where's the exit? So I find that interesting. Anyways, Zach, you say I want more stories about yourself. Here's more stories. But anyways, let's go back to starting low and aiming high, right? So, like I said, the greatest fear is fear of rejection. Fear of rejection and fear of change will become your fear of success. Okay, so look, Zach, like you said maybe it's something that this job is more of a convenience than it is really a job. And I feel like when you said that, it's more of a sense of I feel like I'm not growing anymore as a person. So maybe it's the lack of a challenge, right? And maybe you're just this type of person that wants a challenge in a life. Obviously, enough for you to succeed, not so much to tear you down. Given over fair change is something I'm working on. Mm, right? And there's different pockets too, if you think about it, right? Like maybe you're great at jobs, but maybe you're not that great in relationships, right? And so when it comes to relationship, you're less confident. Anyways, holy shit. I don't know why I'm feeling like this. Give me a second. Allergies that like a whole bunch. I don't know. I can finish this. Let me finish this. So you know, fair rejection, fair change will become your fear of success. And the beauty of this is once you know this, once you want to succeed in your life, and you have a direction, you have an aim, then it's it's a very relieving feeling knowing that you could be yourself and being honest and authentic to yourself without feeling like you're being judged. I feel like I need a sneeze, but I can't. I don't. It's like it comes and goes. Anyways, I think it's just allergies. Anyways, I could continue. So going back to starting low and aiming high. Most people they're fearful of change because usually it's a fear of success and something that's holding them back. Um, and most of the times, if you think about it, humans we're not very not all of us. Let me sip on some bone broth. It might be right. Shit, I might need to hit up some something. I don't know. Something's going on, right? I need to pop in some of those like Tylenol, cold and flu pills just in case. So that's another thing too. If I feel like this, yeah, thank you. I'm gonna pop some pills over the counter. Uh, so going back, I could always find reasons on why things won't work, why things will not work the way I want it to be. I could find a million things as to why, right? But if you think about it like this, if you're going through life thinking like, oh, I'm what's the point of doing this? You're gonna only fail, blah blah blah. Like the same thing goes. Like if you're going into a relationship thinking that, damn, this person has like, what if I go into this relationship and this person's like this and this person's like that, and like you're going to find it eventually instead of letting it happen as it goes. Now it doesn't mean you're naive and you ignore those facts, but it's like you want to be able to give the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time not be so naive about it and be like, damn, like, do I trust this person, right? So same thing like you, Zach. Like you're going through something right now in your mind, and you're like, am I a bank account, or is this person really like trying to, And I feel like yeah. All of a sudden my tone of voice changed or the nasal, but it'll be good. It'll be good. Thank you guys for caring. I appreciate it. But the point I'm trying to make is if you're always finding faults in a person or finding faults in things, or what's the point of continuing? What's the point of doing something like this? Like you're going to find that reason, and it's you more than likely going to discourage you to move forward or not even start. Checking account, not a mate, right? And it might not be your fault because that's that person's character, but at the same time that should not discourage you to find or to be able to be the person that you want to be. And maybe because you are successful when it comes to finance, but at the same time it's like, I don't want you to just look at me as a bank account or look at me as this person that could just buy things, you know what I mean? And that should not discourage you, but at the same time it should put you in a position where your finance is great. So you got that kind of checked off. You got that part of the list checked off, right? But it puts you in a position like, well, there's other areas of my life that I could be working on, right? Like you said, like your hips are tight as shit. I should probably invest in a foam roller. Amazon has a foam roller. I like Trigger Point. That's what I like to use. And I use that shit religiously. Reason why is because I don't need a massage. I don't. Why? Because I give my own massage. because I know how to move it. Is it better when someone massages you? Absolutely. Absolutely. They know how to get into the point, right? So, a bit like oranges. So, like, and most people in this sense, when it comes to like relationships or starting low and aiming high, maybe it's not something that you want to get to in life right now. Right now, your primary focus is about a relationship. Well, control the controllables. What are some of the things that you could do right now that will make you more confident, make you more attractive? Because number one, attraction is not a choice. So if you become more naturally more attractive, right, then you'll be in a much better place. Oh, hold up. Oh, let me. This might help. Oh. Okay. All right. This is getting difficult. All right. I'm almost done, guys. I'm almost done. All right. Let's talk about self-esteem. All right. So self-esteem. Self-esteem has nothing to do with your performance, but it has to do with everything with your potential. So men, if you're here and you want to write some shit down, clip this moment. Self-esteem has nothing to do with your performance, but it has everything to do with your potential. You can and you can separate who you are and what so you can separate who you are and what you want to do, right? With high self-esteem, you never carry your failures forward. You never carry your failures forward. With high self-esteem, if you're this type of person that has a high self-esteem, that values himself, that knows where they're at, hey, I'm not that great right now, but eventually I will, guess what? You're going to be able to move forward with failure and not carry that with you. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of failure, is being able to have those lessons, right? Failure is always left where it belongs. It's a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. So you have to start low enough to be able to start, but you want to have an aim to see where you could be, right? And that's the beauty of it. So spotting a winner or loser in the making is the way how you project yourself. And going back to the last quote that I talked about before, whereas you can always project, what you feel on the outside on how you feel about yourself on the inside. So if you find yourself in a position where you're always constantly like maybe talking down to somebody, because I was like that too, and sometimes I'd be like, damn, Mitchell slips, and I got that. Which clip? Men, I could say that again. But sometimes I catch myself. I'm like, oh, okay, shit. Like, oh, I'm breaking part of who because I'm not where I want to be. You know what I mean? And I feel like I would never get there until I keep doing the things that I need to do. The things that built up me as a person and built me up as a character, built up my character. The self-esteem. Okay, self-esteem has nothing to do with your performance. Self-esteem has nothing to do with your performance, but it has everything to do with your potential. So you can finally separate who you are with what you do, right? And with high self-esteem, you never carry your failures forward. You see it as lessons, and you see that failure, you're like, damn, okay, I messed up, right? I messed up. Maybe I yelled at that person too much. Maybe I shouldn't have said those things when I was pissed off, but it's because I can't help it. I can't help it. Well, okay, maybe you can help it. Maybe you can, hold that tongue back a little bit and take a step back instead of being so emotional. Okay. Well, how can I? I'm just an emotional person. Well, that's because you say that that's who you are, and that's the story that you tell yourself. Okay. Well, how can I be more emotionally resilient? How can I become more emotionally regulated so that I am not the person where most people say I am, right? And like I said, that usually comes with childhood trauma, right? Like, I didn't get to see my dad blow up, but my older brothers did. And so they got the shorter end of the stick. But I guess I got the ripple effect from it. And so I got to see some of that. But it's still, like I said, it's still my choice to educate myself and learn. Because don't get me wrong, I still get mad, right? Like, for example, someone cut me off. Why did you cut me off? Literally, you didn't have to. But at the same time, I really had to step back and really be like, well, maybe this person's in a rush, or maybe this person is just being a dickhead, or maybe this person's just doing this, but what can I do? And I tell myself, like, well, maybe find an opening. Maybe it's gonna take a little bit more time, but I'll find an opening and then move over to the next lane. Oh, this person, like, it will be so much easier moving forward, but this person's literally blocking me in a fast lane. Yeah, okay. But are you in a rush, Mitchell? No. Then why are you mad? Because you're impatient? Okay, then. So it has a lot to do with myself, right? So that's why I like to ask certain questions. And then little by little, I build my this armor, if you will, or this thing before, like this safeguard, right? So that I don't just blurt out something, because it really doesn't serve any purpose yelling at that person that can never hear you, unless I get out the car and like bring a hammer. You know what I mean? And that's not something that I want to participate in, because here's why. I've been in a situation where I was mad because someone cut in front of me, and guess what? He pulled out a gun. That could have been the end of my days. That it could have been the last time I saw daylight. But it really taught me a valuable lesson. Are you in that much of a rush? Um, Self-esteem, Zachary. Okay, yeah, I do that, but never thought I have high self-esteem. Also, go back if I see it where I mess up and apologize, right? And that really puts you into this perspective as like, you are that person, because you're not going there to apologize for them. You're doing it because you felt like I made a mistake, right? And in life, you want to do more things right than wrong, right? But then if you're constantly doing things that is wrong, but you're unaware of it, but now that you're aware of it and you continue to work towards that direction, where would you be in the next 5 to 10 years, if not 20 years? You know what I mean? And so, look, I know people that are in their like 70s, stuck in their own ways, 40s, 50s, still stuck in their own ways. And just like, well, this is who I am. And I was like, well, that's the story that you tell yourself, right? And the more I tell them that, the more they seem like they're angry and they're frustrated. And but then what I noticed is it's like, hey, like, I pull them to the side when things are good, and I'm like, hey, yo, I don't think this is healthy for your relationship if you continue to act like this, because everybody has a breaking point. Everybody has a limit. Just because you have a family, just because you have a house together, it does not solidify that that person's not going to leave. Like, you still have to treat each other right. If you treat them with the best option, and you're the most irresistible option, and you're emotionally regulated, and you control yourself, and you control your tongue, just because you're mad, it doesn't mean you blurt things out, and you express it through a mature way of having healthy communications, they can never be mad at you. And if they're mad at you, they're really mad at themselves, because they're not as controlled as you are. But you're not there to fix them. You're only there to be who you are, and you should allow them to be who they are. And by any means, if that encourages them to want to become a better person from that, then you're gently leading. And if they ask you, hey, you used to be a really angry, frustrated person, how come you're more calm now? And then you could give them some advice, like, oh, this is what I did, this is what helped me. If you want to learn a little bit more, you could go check out Mr. Mitchell Tang, or here's this book or whatever. You know what I mean? But let's see. Yeah, I think that blowing my nose really helped. Yeah, it's really totally their choice, and this is never your choice. You can never change somebody. You can never change. You can lead. You can gently lead, but you can never try to change somebody, because eventually, when you try to change someone that they don't want to be, they're going to be resentful, even though if it's good for them, right? Even though if it's good for them. They're gonna be resentful. Well, that's not who I am. I'm just a frustrated person. You telling me to fucking calm down all the time? So personally, I don't get mad because I was being told being mad, throwing a temperament is like being a child emotion, right? But that's how you connect it. To you, being mad and throwing shit out of control was like, I don't want to be this type of person. You know what I mean? And so to your eyes, you're like, me being a kid and, kicking sand and like whatever, and taking my toys and playing with someone else because I don't like you. That's embarrassing. So you value being embarrassed a lot more, right? And that's your way of saying I'd rather not do that, right? All right. Wow, Mitchell, you did it. You did it. But anyways, the conclusion of starting low and aiming high is you want to be able to be at a place that you're at. You might not be where you want to be right now because maybe there's certain friends, peer groups, family members, whoever are better than you. It doesn't mean that you can start. It doesn't mean that you can't start where you're at and become better little by little. And if they continue, that means that, hey, you know what? Follow their footsteps. Maybe they have something that they could share because success leaves clues. What are some of the things that they did that helped them to get to where they are at today? Little by little, you will start becoming a little bit better. And one thing leads to another. And as you're enjoying this process, you get to be who you are, be authentic to yourself, being truthful, and you get to live under your own skin, being happy with who you are without fear of being judged. You know what I mean? And I think that's a very blissful and beautiful way to live your life without being able to, oh, I need to put up this front so that someone else could like me. And then all of a sudden they say I changed. Well, maybe they're right because you weren't the person that you were when you first approached them. Because that's not who you are, right? So if you are who you are and you never changed, well, guess what? You will always be authentic to yourself. And I feel like I said it a million times, but I do feel like it's getting lost a little more and more, right? And yeah, so start low, but have an aim high, right? And enjoy the process. Thank you. Ice cream is a lot of things, but I'm not a kid. Yo, I'm happy. I'm happy to see you again, Zach. I know it's been a minute. Tracy, as always, Shevlin, Tracy, Min, you still here? But yeah, yeah. I need to take my my Tylenols right now so that I'm not getting. I don't know what it just happened like an hour into my session. You know what I mean? Like it happened at 8 o'clock. So I gotta take my pills right now while it's still fresh in my system. You know what I mean? So preventative. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Wish I was feeling a little bit better. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Saturday. I'll find out a topic. Keep you updated with what's going on too. You know what I mean? But until next time, hit that share. Dang, done already. Yeah, hit that share, hit that like button. Let people know, man. Just want better people. Surround yourself with great people. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got the sniffles. Thank you. If I can't make it on Saturday, I'll let y'all know too. But I think I just gotta attack it now. Prevention's key. You know what I mean? That's why they make condoms. Oh, yo, you're getting out of pocket, Mitchell. All right, I'm out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.